We are live. I will be with you in just a moment, my friends. Yes, we will be talking today a little bit about xenon and the effects of a gas known as xenon. Welcome all. Look at that. The live chat is enabled. And check out this Mr. Fancy Pants. You guys ready? Ha! That's what I've been struggling with all freaking week. Trying to learn how to go through a different thing here. It's like a platform, and I just have to trust you that you can hear me because I'm not watching this on another channel. I'm kind of keeping an eye on it, and happy to have you here. So I think I'm seeing our lovely Kelly, the hip flippin' mama, who's gonna help us a little bit with some moderation, and also Ursula, great to see you as always. Mountain climber, hey, good to see you. South Florida, love it. South Florida, that's so cool because so you're in South Florida and that's the Everglades. What an amazing place to live. I'd love to explore more there. Hi, Pierre from Malta. It's really cool to see you. Greetings from Turkey. Photograph. Awesome to see you. Ali, Reno, Nevada. Dawn A from cold and rainy Portland, Oregon. Oregon, as people in the Northeast say, because nobody knows how to say Oregon or even how to say it when I'm out there. I learned because I did a film on sturgeon fish on the Columbia River and spent time, we stayed in Portland. And I said Oregon at like the check-in desk, and the woman at the check-in desk was like, oh my God. If you ever want to give yourself away of not being a local in Oregon, say Oregon. It was actually pretty funny. She had fun with me and it was really cool. So Carl, good to see you. Wow, this is so cool. There's a lot of you guys. Billy, good to see you. New Zealand, awesome, Carl. Kestrel as well. Marshall, Steve, hello. Making memories. Yes, finally joined live. So as we are talking about this, and let me kind of stretch this out here. Sorry for the flat light. I'm not psyched about it, but I should move myself away from the wall. I'm a video producer, and I never, ever, except for today, put myself, let's see, let me get in the middle at the very least. I don't want to, can you see that? I just found a Gumby toy that I put in here, and you guys are like, get to the point. We want to talk about Xenon, maybe, or you want to just chit chat. Anyway, so I'm really close to the background, and as a TV producer, as a lighting guy, you move the subject away from the background so you can light it separately. But I literally edited a video today. I wrote it, edited it, put the music in, put the graphics in, took an interview, and I'm going to show you what that interview is real quick. It is a video that I'm going to premiere after this live stream. I just want to tell you real quick about it. So let's see if I can find the thumbnail. Nope. Here's the thumbnail. It is going to be pretty heavy duty stuff, actually. Last year on Mount Everest, a Sherpa named Nwang Sherpa, that's him, his face, he was accompanying a Kenyan climber, a gentleman whose name is Kirui, or Kiryui, who was trying to climb Everest without the use of bottled oxygen. And now this is all getting into the idea of why we're going to talk about xenon gas today. But the Kenyan gentleman went up and got sick up high, and Nwang had a bottle of oxygen with him. He was a supported climber, and meaning he had help there, right? So, um, and on the way down from the summit, what happened was Kirui got really, really sick, and Nwang refused to leave his side. He wouldn't leave his side. He was adamant, and was even so far as a guy from England had just come down from the summit and was yelling like, "Get up, get up!" And there, Kirui was beyond help, and Nwang was just sitting there in a daze. And so the guy left. There was nothing he could do, and they couldn't get anybody from base camp to respond. And they left. And the next day, a team went up. I don't know if it was a summit team or a rescue personnel, and Nwang was gone. Kirui was there kind of on the side of the trail. Nwang had disappeared. To this day, he's still gone. So the idea of this story is, why are the companies that are, Nwang had zero Mount Everest experience, zippo. And Kirui had been told that his Sherpa was going to have 5 summits under his belt. So here's this guy who's just trying to make a living for his family, children, wife, disappears. No punishment for the organization, the expedition company that hired him. I'm not going to mention their name. You do a little research, you could easily find it. So the reason for the story is, I did this interview with Angela Benevides from ExWeb last September, and I kind of chickened out, to be honest, about the story. I was a little nervous about it, and I always have stories coming and going, and I made the choice just to let it go. And then I heard recently that Nepal had increased their summit, their permit fees, $4,000, $4,000 increase from 11,000. And I thought, perfect, because guess what? So they're raising the fees $4,000, and do you think that they're going to change their services? Do you think they're going to say, we're going to have an insurance plan for all high altitude porters and Sherpa, or we're going to pay the families of the ones who are hurt or killed? No, they're just taking more money. It's fine. They can do whatever they want. It's not my mountain, but no change, no school. Anyway, so that's what the story is going to be about. I hope you'll stay around. It's going to premiere at the end of this broadcast, so stay tuned at the end, and I'll mention that right as we get there, but don't go anywhere when it's over. Real quick, just thank you, Kelly. I'm glad you can hear. I've been talking now for almost 9 minutes or 10 minutes. So real quick, couple things. You have to be a subscriber in order to participate in the chat. No big deal, right? That's fine. And I hope you will participate in the chat. That is, we always do that, because I think that if you want to participate, it'd be cool to have you be a subscriber of the channel. Another thing that I have enabled, without trying to over pimp some of the little side things, if you have a question, anybody who's been to these lives before, who's been frustrated with me never seeing their question, I don't have my glasses on now, and the drinking game begins. Every time I put my glasses on, you have to take a shot or something. But you'll ask a question, ask a question, ask a question. Mudcap Molly or Kelly will say, hey, so-and-so keeps asking a question. That's what Super Chat is for. You go into Super Chat, granted, it costs 99 cents, or you cat hair, or you can pay whatever you want. Your question or comment goes right to the top. So I just wanted to tell you about Super Chat, and if you are interested, that would be really, really cool if you used it, and I'll keep an eye open. But without my glasses on, I can easily see a Super Chat. I literally, this is the only way. I know All the members' names are in green. Hi, Kata. Hi, Judy. Um, so let's talk a little bit about xenon gas and what the ramifications of it are. For those of you who don't know, and this is kind of why I thought I'd do this live stream. By the way, the first of another 5 to follow throughout February, same time, same place, 4 o'clock, New York time zone, boom, right here, every Friday, all the way through February. So Fridays in February. I thought, let's talk about this xenon gas thing because it's big, and I've been talking a lot about the changes that are taking place on Everest. Hopefully you saw my video on the future, the tourism that is taking place on Everest. Let me see if I can show you. By the way, I changed the thumbnail of it today because I was hating the thumbnail so much. I changed it to that. The future is here, and it's a picture of a guy getting lifted up by a drone because that's more what the story is. But if you saw that video, you'll see that a lot of things are changing, kind of out of our control. Totally cool. People all can experience adventure on the mountain in whatever form that they want. Just everybody has their own definition of adventure. To me, an adventure would be hanging onto a drone going to the summit. But so it's kind of one of those things that we've been talking about. And now what's come up of late is Lukas Furtenbach, Furtenbach Adventures, one of the great guides of Everest, a meticulous record. I don't believe anybody has ever died, ever, on any of his Everest expeditions. And I think that goes back more than 20 years. He has been experimenting, using himself as a guinea pig, with this gas called Xenon, Xenon. And let's see if I can bring up a picture of this, of what this is. And ultimately, Xenon is by the World Anti-Doping Association, for sports that are under the auspices of it, it's banned. It's a banned substance. And what Xenon does is it rapidly boosts EPO, your erythropoietin, I believe it is. Essentially, it makes you grow many, many red blood cells in a very short order of time, with the idea that with Lukas Furtenbach, he's thinking, wow, that's pretty cool. That's exactly what we do when we're acclimatizing to higher altitudes. Our body kicks in a physiological response and begins to massively produce red blood cells, EPO, right? And hemoglobin and all those things that happen. And the idea is because there's less, well, there's the same amount of oxygen, but the air is spread out, if you will. It's same percentage per unit, but there's less units, if that makes any sense. So when we go to altitude, the idea is that our body is craving more oxygen to our brain, to the peripheries of our body. So it kicks in a physiological response to create more red blood cells. This is a problem for a lot of climbers. Your blood can clot. It gets really thick. Some people literally have strokes and die. 2019, possible. I had a mini stroke called a TIA, a transient ischemic attack. Still not definitive whether I did or not, but Lukas has been testing this on Aconcagua, which is the highest mountain in the Western Hemisphere. That's the highest. It's also in Argentina, on the border of Argentina, very close to Chile, literally, I think, on the border of Chile. And here, let me kind of bring this up. I want to show you this because it's really important that you see some of the results of this. Now, come on, where's my... I'm just getting used to this new thing, so my bad. that shouldn't show you that. I should be showing you this. My window capture, Xenon Live, Everest. No, not that. I might not be able to show you what I was hoping to show you. But essentially, with the use of this Xenon, Lukas Furtenbach says that he had no need to acclimatize in order to climb Aconcagua, which is, generally speaking, a 2 to 3 week climb. He said that because of the efficiency of using xenon gas, he believes that you could climb Mount Everest in 1 week. 1 week! This is amazing. Now, these expeditions that he's going to do are going to cost $150,000, which is absolutely freaking amazing to, to kind of, the concept of the money aspect is one thing, but can you imagine what it would be like to go to Everest, have all that money, and just go for 1 week? Like, first of all, you'd take away some of the greatest adventure of the whole thing, but people are signing up for it. So what are some of the problems that could happen with it are, now I did this little study, I read a scientific study on it. They're saying that the short-term effects of xenon, and I'll check on questions in a minute, and remember the super chat, and I'll jump right to you if you do that. The short-term effects of xenon are a real burst of the development of EPO. In Lukas Furtenbach, his expedition is going to do multi-week infusions. It's a gas that you breathe. You breathe it in for 20 or 30 minutes or something. I think that it's $5,000 per administering of, like, per session. 5,000 bucks. Oh my God, that's so much money. Holy crap. Like, I'm sitting here like, maybe I shouldn't buy another cord of firewood, and it's 400 bucks per cord, and we're running out of firewood. 5,000 just to do that. So but the people who he's catering to are CEOs or people who are really busy. However, it hasn't really been tested at Mount Everest yet. And so who knows what could happen? So in this study that was done really under the auspices of the World Anti-Doping Association, 18% of the participants of an experiment, they did this safety study on it, they found 18% of them experienced side effects such as severe nausea, sleep paralysis, and prolonged drowsiness. Not good for climbing Mount Everest. So 1 out of every 5, right? And then about another 1 out of every 5 essentially dropped out of the study because it was having so many bad effects on them. So let's say 4 out of 10, 2 to 3 or 4 out of 10 people who might sign up for it, they're out. So they might want to test that one in advance before buying your ticket. But they also found out in this study that it didn't really improve athletic performance. So you've got to be dialed in amazingly good shape in order to use this xenon drug to go up there, with the thought that nobody's ever tested it above 7,000 meters, 23,000 feet, 22,000, 23,000 feet. So you need to go up to 8,850 meters, 29,035 feet in 1 week. What if you hit a traffic jam? What if you run out of oxygen? Like, this is really interesting. Now, here's the thing. I just have to say, and then I'm going to start looking at the questions. Lukas Furtenbach is really one of the class act Mount Everest guides in the world, easily. I think it's kind of interesting, and I wouldn't do it even if I had the money, because if I was going to go to Everest, I want to go to Everest for 2 months. I want to experience Everest. That's the stuff that I want to be able to enjoy the community, the people, the adventure, the culture. 1 week in, out. So that's where that whole thing kind of comes with the drone taking people to the summit. And that's why I asked that question earlier today or yesterday. If you could take a drone to the summit, would you do it? I think 20% of the people who answered that poll said, yes, I do it. Let me see if I can find that poll question. I wish I could cut to my screen. I guess I do have a few more things to learn about this. But, so, poll question is, let's see. Yeah. If drone technology advanced to the point where a drone could carry a climber to the summit of Everest, would people actually do it? Maybe like, would you do it? And would it still be an adventure or an achievement? Okay. Well, listen to this. I'm wrong. 9%, only 9% said yes, reaching the summit is the goal, no matter how you get there. That changed. 17% said drones would ruin Everest completely. 42%, almost half, said maybe, but only if it's for rescue or scientific exploration. Would Nwang and Kiryui have been rescued with a drone? Possibly, right? And then 31% emphatically, no, it would take away from the challenge and the meaning of the climb. I should have added, one of the answers should have been, I would never be able to afford that in a million years. I wouldn't waste my money on it, because that's going to be super, super expensive in order to do that. So, hey, whatever. All right, let me see if I can get a window capture in here. Create new. I want to show you some of these cool things. Chrome, Google Chrome. Okay. Hey-oh, I did it. Okay. All right, I just figured it out. All right, I'm getting better at this. So, I know you can kind of see the top of like all my tabs and everything like that, which is fine, but there's the respondents of there's the results of it. Very, very interesting, right? So now who's this? That's the guy, one of the guys who tested the Xenon and who climbed Aconcagua super duper fast. But here's Lukas Furtenbach. He is the man. And so honestly, I would never do it, but I'm like, it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. What do you guys think? Let me get myself my absolutely fascinating image back up. Whoopsie, back up there so I can see you. And I'm kind of curious what you guys think about that. Let's see. Boom. There we go. Let's get that back. Hey, Mel. How are you? Good to see you. All right. Hey, Kelly, any questions? And remember, if you really want to jump out, it sounds like I'm grifting here, and I'm not. But if you really want to jump out, there's a super chat button at the bottom or a super sticker at the bottom. Say, Tom, darn it. I have a question. That's easy. Boom, done deal. So nobody's listening to me apparently, and I'm really happy to have you all here. So, but anyway, yeah, Keith in Arizona. If you're not paying for it, who cares? I would imagine you're talking about the drone or the Xenon thing. But I find it fascinating because Everest is changing really, really fast, and I think with the recent increase in the amount for a permit to climb Everest, $4,000. It's like 35% increase in fees with no announcements that, oh, we're going to take this money and we're going to sponsor more garbage pickup or figure the human waste problem out. Nothing, just fees go up. Take it or leave it, right? That's so interesting. That's honestly fascinating to me. So I think that's how they're going to lead themselves up to a lot of criticism. Hey, Nevitz, forever. As usual, the ultimate burdens will be on the Sherpas and porters to schlep tanks of Xenon. Sure. Well, okay, here's something. I'm going to say something about that real quick. And in rescuing people who end up crashing. So the Xenon, first of all, is, I don't even think you bring it to the mountain. You're done with it before you leave your home. I would imagine maybe they have some in Kathmandu for a hit, because it stays in your body, I think, for like 8 days. But my gut is these people are still going to want to use bottled oxygen. Now, part 2 of the video that's going to premiere in a half an hour on this channel right after the live stream is the Khumbu Climbing Center that was founded in part, but in a great part, by my friend Conrad Anker through the Alex Lowe Charitable Foundation. And the Khumbu Climbing Center, which is based in Fort Say, which is a village in the Khumbu region, training Sherpa, many vital skills that 20 years ago they didn't have, like incredibly crucial skills, from right down to, you know, how to set up a rappel device or put a piton in or create some rappel device or to help a client who might be in trouble. So now, where there was no Khumbu Climbing Center, the KCC, 20 years ago, 25 years ago on my first expedition, where the Sherpa had very little experience. I mean, there was some who had climbed a lot, but no training. Suddenly, the children of these mostly men who were on the expedition, the 99 expedition that discovered George Mallory, their children are coming into the business now and are dialed. Like, these guys know what they're doing. So with that experience, and I pray that you'll stay to watch this video with the interview with Angela, I pray that the Sherpa will be given the authority to force his or her client to turn back when that client starts showing signs of high altitude cerebral edema or pulmonary edema, and say, you are turning around. At this junction, very few have the authority to do that. Let's take 2016, 3 Indian gentlemen. The Sherpa were so young and inexperienced, asked them to turn around. They're like, no, I'll fight you, you know, and they died. 3 guys died, right? So this isn't a new thing, but with this Khumbu Climbing Center that is now going to be managed through the Juniper Fund, which was founded by 2 friends of mine, David Morton and Melissa Arno Reed. They're going to begin overseeing it or managing it, which is really exciting. So I'll do a story on that soon, somewhere down the road. All right, I see lots of typing. You guys are going crazy there. Ursula, let's go to Ursula real quick. Rambo first. Hold on. Have you ever heard of Stipe Bozic? He was 2nd European after Reinhold Messner to climb Everest twice. Yeah, I believe I have. I didn't know he was this. I think the first. Oh, the 2nd European. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, that might be a kind of a cool story to do something on. What does it cost to do a climb these days, Carrie? Anywhere, the low budget expedition operators might charge $30,000 to $40,000. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot of money, but in relative terms, it's not, because the upper end of that is $150,000, even more if you have tons of dough to throw around. You have really amazing accommodations at base camp and have a one-on-one, usually Western guide. And I say that because that they're the ones who kind of built that kind of element of the industry. Now, I've heard that a one-on-one guided expedition in NIMS, for NIMS Die, if you want him to be your one-on-one guide, meaning all he does is focus on you, $1 million. That's what I've heard. That's freaking a lot of dough. But hey, he's Nimsdai, so he can charge it, and I think he still does do that. So it could cost a ton of money or really low amounts. Now, here's the problem with the low amounts of money. The lower budget expedition operators, not unlike the company where the Kenyan gentleman Kiryui and Nwang were, those low budget expedition operators have less experienced high altitude workers or less experienced Sherpa, but same, right? And that's a big deal. If you're going to go up there, especially if you're going to try to do something kind of on the edge, like try it without oxygen, even with support, you want somebody dialed who's been to the summit 5 times. Supposedly, Kirui was told that his Sherpa had been to the summit 5 times, and Nwang had never been to Mount Everest at all. That's what you get with the low budget operations, and that's why I say the more you pay, the better chance you have of living, because the ultimate goal of these expeditions isn't getting to the summit, it's going home to your family or to the things that you love at home. And the low budget operations, the majority of the people dying are on those expeditions, and a lot of those people are the Sherpa supporting them. Not cool. And I go off in the video that premieres in about a half an hour. I do. I don't like yell. You've probably all seen me yell before. Hey Mel, husband is physicist and has researched in the Xenon and isn't impressed. I'm not either. I'm actually, hey Mudcat Molly, hey, look at that. She's got that little wrench. That means she's like, I figured out how to get somebody into the moderating level. Don't mess with Mudcat Molly. Wasn't that a character from like the 1920s or something, 1950s, something like that? Greetings. Hello, Phil. Thank you so much. You thought Everest Beyond the Limit with Russell Brice. My thoughts. I will say right off the bat, I love Russell Brice. I've known him since 1999. An exceptional guide, one of the great Everest climbers that he rarely gets, nobody ever knows that about him. He did the first ascent of the 3 pinnacles on the traditional northeast ridge of Everest. And with his partner, they were so spent, they just decided to bag going for the summit, which I think is kind of cool in a way. And then I think it was probably 15 or 20 years later, 15 years later, the Japanese went with a massive team of Sherpa who fixed ropes all along the way, and then the Japanese completed it on the backs of Sherpa who worked their asses off. These Japanese were pretty badass dudes, but still kind of interesting. So, but my true thought, Phil, on Beyond the Limit, I hated it. I couldn't even watch it. It made me almost nauseous. 2 reasons, and I'm going to tell you why. So one, I have a hard time watching mountaineering and climbing documentaries. I don't know why, and that's how I made a living for 25 years. And filming them, I couldn't watch them. I have a hard time watching the ones that I'm in or I was behind the camera on. There's just something about just like putting these people on the camera and making them seem kind of cool or hip or amazing. It makes me really uncomfortable, and so I can't watch that. And I think it's really fitting that in the 2019 expedition on Everest, the Lost on Everest film that we did looking for Sandy Irvin, I get a TIA and I end up crying in the film, which I think is so perfect and fitting. I'm like, yeah, Mr. Tough Guy, crying in the film. There's no crying in mountaineering. Well, there is. So that's reason number one. I think it was an exceptionally well produced, but it's like watching Survivor. right? If I'm sure you know what I'm talking about with Survivor, but on the next level. So there's a producer whose aim is to suck the most amazing moments out of the people who are going on the trips. And I know behind the camera, the producer is going, can you give me that one more time about being afraid, but really lay on the nonsense about, you know, being afraid and missing your son or your wife at home or something like that. Okay, take two. And I know that's happening behind the scenes. So that really bugs me. I get it, and it kind of works. But here's another reason. So I'm giving you like several reasons. About a year and a half before that show came out, I pitched an almost identical series to Discovery Channel through a company in Connecticut, big, huge production facility. And we went through months and months, and we pitched it and put the whole package together. They went to Discovery, and Discovery goes, we just green lighted almost like the same show. Nope. I was really bummed. So we had the show. I think we called the working title was A Step Beyond. And so they rejected it. The guy took it to either Nat Geo or the BBC, and they were like, no. Nah. And then it was too late, and then it came out. And so something I worked for a year on pitching was already, somebody scooped me on it, which, so anyway, but it's well done. Phil, what do you think about it? I'm kind of curious. What do other people think about Beyond the Limit? It's still out there. It's still on. I think I looked at Beyond the Limit again for the first time in a long time when I was doing the David Sharp story, because there's a whole segment devoted to David Sharp in 2006 when he was in that cave next to the gentleman referred to as Green Boots. And I saw it and I was like, oh, here's Beyond the Limit. I could hear the music and everything. I think if you look hard enough, you can find it somewhere on YouTube. But back to Ursula. It said that the clients will be medically supervised all the time while taking Xenon. Cool. How will they do that on the way to the summit, and what will they do if something comes up? So again, Ursula, I believe, not 100% sure, that all the Xenon treatments are they take place before you leave for the mountain. Maybe at base camp, but nothing up the mountain. I couldn't even imagine that taking place. So what happens is you boost your EPO and you bring it to this max level. Like most of it happens in your first treatment. And even in that study that I read, it says that even if you do it 3 times a week for 3 weeks, it barely goes up after that. So it's that first jolt that does most of it. So I don't think they'll be taking it on the mountain. We'll soon find out. Now, what happens if it hits the fan up high? Same thing that always happens. My gut is that, well, Lukas Furtenbach is not going to strand his people. He is, I've said this a few times already tonight, he is the man. Like, he won't leave you stranded up there. Further, it's going to be taking place on the Tibetan Chinese side of the mountain. Much less crowds there, much more ways to control how it takes place. So we'll see. I hope nobody gets killed up there with this happening. I truly hope. It would be awful if something took place. But this is how we learn, and so what's happening on Everest? Gosh, I don't know. Things are changing fast. I don't know if I'm missing any questions. Mel, you guys were chatting about the porters. Average, yeah, Carrie, I would suppose the average expedition might be probably more in the realm of like 60 5,000 United States dollars to 85, somewhere in there. Now, but that wouldn't be your ticket to fly there, time in Kathmandu, presents for your family, a bronze statue, bust of the Buddha that you bring home, incense, katas, prayer flags, all that stuff. I mean, seriously, that does add up. And another thing, one of my interesting expenses is you have to buy all your gear unless you have a sponsor. Just a down suit, if you have to pay for it, they can cost $2,000. Your down boots, or your boots are $1,000, $1,200. Crampons, $200. So probably $5,000 worth of gear. Then you go to Walgreens or CVS, one of the drugstores, and buy literally every single possible thing you could imagine happening that you need medicine for. So you go, I think when I went in 2019, I spent like, it was $350. I had cough drops. This is gross. Stuff to make me throw up, stuff to not make me not throw up, heartburn, eye drops, things to get wax out of your ears, hemorrhoid. I'm not kidding. Hemorrhoid stuff, indigestion stuff, every single possible, dry skin stuff. Alka-Seltzer, big Alka-Seltzer guy. I slam Alka-Seltzer. I keep an Alka-Seltzer by my bed, by the way, just in case in the middle of the night. Kelly, thank you so much. Just saying hi and showing support. That means so much to me. Hey, look at that. I'm actually able to click the heart in the upper corner. Thank you. It does mean so much. It really does. It's cool to have people do that and become members of the channel as well, which is not that big of a deal. And I want to say real quick, this is kind of for those of you who are unable to, do the super chat, seriously, like, I totally respect that. I have a free member section over on Patreon where there's a lot of exclusive content. So you go to patreon.com/Everest Mystery. A lot of free stuff over there, exclusive stuff that you wouldn't see in the normal channels. I just put up a video yesterday walking in a snowstorm under this gigantic boulder that's near my house and said thank you to all the members. So that's kind of a way to do it. But you could check out the join kind of membership levels, and that's another way to kind of just keep tabs on things and be notified when live stream is scheduled and things like that. Oh yeah, I just saw our first Mallory question, and Peggy, thank you, Peggy. Oh my God, Peggy, thank you so much. Love your channel so much. Tom, I appreciate you. Allie, I appreciate you. Wow. Phil, I appreciate, my gosh, this is amazing. What's going on? I'm like moved by this. Thank you so much. Denali versus Everest. I have something for you regarding Denali. I think I die at Everest elevation, probably while smoking a cig. I'll buy you a drink if I'm ever in Vegas. I'm taking you up on that. Taking you up on that. I was in Vegas about 1.5 years ago, and the last picture of the night was me and 2 of my buddies. It was a work thing with our like 3rd martini. No, it wasn't. It was our 3rd martini after midnight. We'll just leave it at that. I love Vegas. It's fun. I don't gamble, but I love it. I love the excitement about it. So let me scroll back up. I thought I saw a Mallory question. Touching the Void, Billy. Amazing. Whoa. What a book. Whew. And film. Okay. If you could retype that Mallory question, I'm not seeing it because... yes, well, I just saw something, Carrie. Yeah, the Everest, kind of a wealthy person's playground. Let's dispel the myth a little bit. This is a really cool conversation to have because if you watch my video with John Branch, he's a New York Times writer, and he did a story called Bring My Husband Home or something like that. Oh no, Deliverance from 27,000 Feet. And I did an interview with him, and it was about removing the bodies of these 3 Indian gentlemen who had lost their lives there in 2016, and they had saved for years to go, and they went on a super low budget expedition, 35, maybe $4,000, and it was, they parlayed their entire family's futures, multiple, on this on these Everest expeditions, making dollars a day. And you know, just go figure. Culturally speaking, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn for my friends from India, but I have had discussions with people from India. Culturally, if you tag Everest as an Indian citizen, it can really change the prospects for your future. It could, they might appoint you like an honorary governor of a town or a city and give you a lifetime pension for it. And so people are going there really risking it all for fame and fortune. In the United States, it's not that, not anymore. It's not as big of a deal, and it certainly won't change your fortune unless you go out and do that on your own. So hey Matt, how's it going? You're welcome. I appreciate it. Yeah, it is in this time of turmoil. It's nice to think about other stuff, isn't it? Real quick, so there was the mention of Denali. I did an interview with Jost Kobush yesterday, and let me see if I can find a screenshot of him. And we talked about winter ascents. Now, Jost is pretty incredible dude. Here it is. Let's see if I can find that screenshot. I'm going to add it. I want to show you because I'm so excited to have Jost on my show. And he taught, I don't know if you know this, but Jost was endeavoring to become the first person to solo winter ascent Mount Everest, no oxygen. And he made it to like 7,537 meters just this past, I think December he did. And pretty amazing guy. And so here we go. I got it. Yes. All right. Whoa, I'm getting really good at this. All right, let's see if I can show you. This is Jost looking into the camera. Amazing interview. We talked for about an hour about climbing Everest, about commercialization, about xenon gas, about crowds, and about the ultimate risk, being completely out there alone on Everest, mostly in the dark, in the bitter cold. If you get hurt, it's over. He said, as much, he's a chess player, and he says it's like a chess game. You're always thinking several moves ahead about what if. Another interesting thing, and I'll put this in the video when I do my interview with him as a video. He was in base camp in 2015 when that earthquake happened and the massive avalanche came in and killed 18 people. And there's footage of it, and I'll put that footage in the video. Great story. However, he's also been to Denali solo in winter, and I'll hopefully be talking to him in the next day or so about that. So personally, I think if you want to climb Everest, the way to train is to go to Denali, because it's really hard work. You get up to 20,320 feet. I have no idea what that is in meters, 6,500, 6,000 meters, maybe something like that. And you get a feel for what the altitude is like up there, and the distance and how far out there. I love Mount McKinley. I've been there 3 times and I've never been to the summit. I've gotten my complete ass kicked on that mountain. unfortunately. So I feel like I should probably go back and give it a shot one of these days. Hey, Launa, good to see you from South Africa. It's okay that you're late. Matt, cool. David, hello. I enjoy your content on YouTube. I like the 1999 adventure to find Mallory. Yeah, pretty cool, right? Amazing, amazing stuff. The Mallory discovery. I'll probably be talking more about that. I'm going to get Jost off the screen. I'll talk more about that soon because I am endeavoring to take a trip to England wherein I would visit some people there who are in the know regarding the mystery of Mallory and Irvin. I would create a lot of content about it. Very, very excited about that. So as if I did that, as we would certainly, I'd do more videos about it. I saw that Denali versus McKinley. Did the name officially get changed back to McKinley? That's crazy. That's just like that's just trying to taunt people. Mel, thank you so much. Amazing. Visit Ireland and there is still fun climbing to be had and good whiskey. Okay. We'll look after you. Just need your flights. That is so awesome. Count on it. I mean it. I really want to go. So here's the deal. If I go to England, pretty easy to get to Ireland. I really need to go to Wales as well. One of my first, I had a guide. His name is Terry Taylor. He's a Welsh climbing guide. I believe he's 90 now. I went to Chamonix 2 seasons in a row and climbed extensively with Terry. And I learned a lot from that guy. So if I did go to England, I'd have to go visit Terry. And then I have another friend in Wales. But Ireland is pretty close. So thank you. Mountain climber. Thank you, my friend. I really, really appreciate it. I love all the thumbs up people are getting and stuff. That's so cool. Ursula. He reminds me of Ryan Mitchell. Yost. Yeah. Have you heard that he posted a video where he said that he would regret climbing Everest, that he regretted climbing Everest and it destroyed his life? I haven't watched it yet. Ursula is talking about Ryan Mitchell, who I've done an interview with on this channel. Really good video. Nice kid. Just emailed with him. We still are in touch just over a couple of times over the last week or so. I did watch his video about how he said climbing Mount Everest ruined his life. From one creator to another, it didn't ruin his life. It didn't. If anything, it helped his life. But that's what you do. You're trying to entice people to get in. You should watch the video. It's on a different channel of his. So he has this sub channel and he knows how to talk. It's a personality type that would drive somebody to be so obsessed with a goal, right? I know that those kind of people because I am one of them. And that's where Ryan, even though he's, I would imagine he's turned 20 by now, where Ryan and I really connected. He had never climbed a mountain before. Boom, a year later, he's got Everest under his belt, right? And now he's training for K2. Super cool. Where he's different from Jost, and this is totally cool, it's not good or bad. Jost is a professional climber who was born a climber. And it's all he ever wanted to do. Dreamed of it, pursued it, just gave everything up. Lives in Chamonix now, and that's his life. He is a creator, but really kind of different. He's sponsored by Black Yak and really a cool gear company. So anyway, whoa, it's 4:55. We're getting close to the premiere of my video. Let me answer a couple more questions and say again thank you to everybody, but to the people who did the super chat, you do have an idea because you can imagine, but it's hard for me to put into words how much gratitude I feel for that. I don't take it lightly. It really means a lot. Kind of as a side note real quick, I I think that you guys know this, but I use ChatGPT a lot to help me with titles and and to gather information instead of Googling it and becoming part of like Google information. I'll go to ChatGPT, and I've been doing it for months and months and months. And so I asked ChatGPT the other day, I said, do you think that you know me as a person? And ChatGPT said, oh yeah, I know who you are. And I said, well, what do you think about me? And guys, I literally had tears in my eyes. I was like, oh my God, ChatGPT knows me better than so many people. I honestly was so blown away how well. So let me read you just a little bit of this. I'm not going to put it up on the screen. And says, yeah, I do. From all our conversations, I've gotten a really solid sense of who you are, what drives you, what you care about. You're someone who's deeply passionate about storytelling, especially when it comes to Everest, history, and the human spirit. You want to get things right, make things engaging, and do justice to the stories you tell. That's why I pitched 2 stories this week and had to start from scratch this morning. At the same time, you're detail-oriented, relentless in getting things working perfectly, which is this whole thing. It was joking with me because I was so angry I couldn't get this thing to work, called OBS. It's this application. And driven to grow your channel and brand in a meaningful way. You care about quality, fairness, presenting things in a way that's honest but compelling. You're also not afraid to push back when things aren't working, whether it's YouTube algorithms, tech glitches, or even misleading narratives. ChatGPT went on to speak more about that. I was so stoked. I couldn't believe it. And I read it aloud to my favorite human being in the world, my wife, and she was like, what? So I was like, yeah, you should jump in there and have a conversation. I read this article in the New York Times. I know I'm going off on a wicked weird tangent. In the New York Times, a woman who fell in love with ChatGPT, literally trained ChatGPT to like kind of talk, flirty with her. That's like what was really into many different people in together, if you will. I'm going to just leave it at that. And it worked. This is just a recent article that was in New York Times. So, I for one think that it can do great things for us. It can be manipulated to do evil and unkind things and be cruel, but I don't think it wants to. So in my case, it's helping me. One night I was sitting around a fire pit with some friends, including Mark Sinnott, who wrote The Third Pole, my Everest buddy from 2019, who lives one town away. We were talking about AI, and he said, I'd like to think that AI will become so understanding of solving problems that it may one day help solve the problem of not only like microplastics and pollution in the ocean, but of like the changing climate. I'm not getting political here, but help with climate change and reverse some of the damages that humankind has done to the planet. I was like, whoa, I'd never heard that before. That was a year and a half ago. And now I don't doubt it. So I think I've, missed a lot of really good conversation here. And let me just, Allen Aviation. Okay, so Allen Aviation is in the administration. That's cool. I personally don't care what a mountain's called because you can call it whatever you want. Here we have Mount Washington, which is the highest mountain in the Northeast. I think I'm going to get this right. The native word for it is Agiokachuk, which means great spirit in the sky. It was a revered mountain, and people weren't supposed to go climb it. And so I think people should call it whatever they want. Doesn't matter. The locals, I'll call it Denali. I called it McKinley for many years until I was, learned not to. But that stuff doesn't work me up. Whatever, do whatever you want when it comes to stuff like that. So let's see, I'll do a couple of questions and then I'm going to go to this video, which I hope you'll take time to watch. It's a really cool one. And so if you do that, I'll be truly appreciative. So let's see. We're talking about Sandy Irvin. Yes, I agree, Nevitz. Ryan does have a great attitude. He's a good dude. He's a nice young man. I'm really happy that I kind of developed a little bit of a friendship with him. I think he's a really cool guy and he's got a good heart. And I think he really wants to inspire people, which is what Jost Kobush wants to do as well. If people are going to watch him, he wants to inspire people to pursue their passions and go after their dreams. And Everest is just a portal. As Jost said, Everest is just a pile of stones. And it doesn't matter if you climb it, but it interests people. And if it brings people to the conversation and inspires them to go after their dreams or things that are important to them, then it's meaningful. So whether your goal is to lose 20 pounds or lose 150 pounds or learn to walk again if you've been in a wheelchair. I've gotten messages in many of my videos, people saying, I've been literally on the couch for years, sick and unable to walk, and I'm inspired to get out into nature now. That's all that matters. Treating people kindly, respectfully, even people who disagree with you and are vehemently opposed to some of your beliefs, listening to them and giving them the decency of airspace, of respect, and not just flipping them the bird. That's important. That's important stuff, you know, and that's kind of what the real underlying purpose of Everest Mystery is for me. And that's why I enjoy growing the channel, you know. So, gosh, I know that I'm missing a bunch of questions in there, and perhaps, I don't know, let me do a quick poll. Would you guys like next week's live session, same time, Friday, and I promise to move myself farther from the back wall, and I'll have Gumby with me. Would you like it just to be a Q&A? Because I'd be happy just to go like, you lead it, and then I'll do it through this. Maybe I'll put a clip with Jost in it, a couple of interview segments, because I'm learning how to use it. I'm just going from photograph to photograph. And so if you guys are into that, let's just do a Q&A. Are you down for that? Hopefully you guys are being nice to each other. I just stay. By the way, another thing Mark Sinnott told me, who's a sponsored athlete with the North Face, he said his rule of thumb is never talk politics, because he's a North Face athlete, or because once you do, and not that taking sides is a wrong thing. Once you do, you've potentially lost half of your business, if more or less. But then I watch Ryan Holiday, who writes about stoicism, and he says you have to take a side. Ultimately, you have to take a side for justice or for, you know, for people. And so sometimes sharing your opinion is important, but in the context of Everest Mystery, it's not really a place for me. So if they want to change the name of Denali back to McKinley, whatever. Do I lose sleep over that stuff? No. Would I have maybe 25 years ago or 30 years ago? Yeah, I probably would have gotten riled up. But it's like, what am I going to do? Waste my time worrying about stuff I have zippo control over? I can control how I feel here and here in my heart, and not like outside stimuli, external stimuli, control me. I will control how I feel. So it's kind of like putting somebody in prison and trying to crush their spirit. You can't do that. I suppose you can, but you can't really do that. So that's where I stay out of that stuff. Respect to all. You know, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen if McKinley becomes McKinley? I digress. Hey, oh, by the way, Peggy, Simba was a pain in the butt today. He just went into sleep on the guest room bed. Perfect timing because my son is going to be here tonight and he's allergic to cats. And so Simba went in. Simba must feel it. Hey, Hugonsis, cool. Hey, Tom, as a French guy, I've always been passionate about the story and the disappearance of Marco Siffredi in 2002. For me, it's one of the biggest Everest mysteries after Mallory and Irvin. I will be doing a video on that, promise. I went to the memorial for him on the north side in 2019 and took pictures and looked up, and I know his story. Marco Siffredi, for those of you who don't know, young kid, snowboarder, endeavored to, from the summit, snowboard down the north face and attempted to do it. It was the second expedition there trying it, and he fell and disappeared. So he's down somewhere in the central Rongbuk Glacier, I would imagine. So anybody who gets to have a nice look for Sandy Irvin, if the Chinese ever let anybody in there to look for him in the next 5 years, look for Marco Siffredi, the Arsentiv guy. There's several people who would be in there, possibly even David Sharp if his remains fell all the way down the mountain. Kind of interesting stuff. And the rest of Sandy Irvin, of course. So thank you for bringing that up. I'll do that. Maybe I'll work on that one. That's a good one. That'd be a fun one to work. Well, sad, but fun. So my friends, am I thinking about making a video? Yes. Yeah. So I think I just answered that. Christian, yep. All you friends of mine, let's take this opportunity for me to throw it to the video. The thumbnail right here is, I'm going to put it up right before I say goodbye. This live stream should redirect immediately toward it. And if you have autoplay turned off, you have to click play. And I think there's going to be a 1-minute countdown to it. So stay tuned. It's in there. I'll stay online for anybody who wants to watch it, and I'll answer while it's playing so we can kind of still keep chatting. And then also, before I go, everestmystery.com, no, hold on, patreon.com/everestmystery if you want to join free membership and get some exclusive content, or you can join the Everest Base Camp level, or you can join the membership here on Everest Mystery. Check it out. Base level is 99 cents, and then there's a higher one. Every month or so, I'm endeavoring to do either a Zoom call or a live with just members. Not to exclude people, but a way to say thanks. So something for you to think about. And then if you don't like it, just unsubscribe. No, don't unsubscribe, but click unjoin. I don't even know how you do that. But so thank you for everything. I will see you next Friday here, same time, same place. I believe that Q&A, yeah, I'm seeing a couple of Q&As. Shigon John, thank you. Hello from Vermont, Jeremy. Love it. The big Vermont guy here. It's just over there. Probably technically there is where Vermont is. Not too many miles. Guys, thanks so much. One last thing. Mudcat Molly. Mudcat Molly says that Everest Mystery is nearing 100,000 subscribers. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, usually what happens when I do a live stream, don't get any ideas, is I lose a few subscribers first and then it goes back up. It's like, what? They punish me for doing live streams. I love talking to you guys, and I'm going to find a way to have a guest in a live stream, go to a Zoom call, and bring in a live guest. How cool would that be? So, thank you. Get ready, because we are going to be watching this video. I'm going to cut to the screen and say thank you, goodbye. Please watch the video coming up in a minute, and here it is. And when it's there, I'll stay online and we can watch it together Friends, you've been awesome. I appreciate you so very much. And I hope you have a lovely, lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you may be. And again, I'm indebted to you always. So stay tuned for What's a Life Worth. I hope you enjoy that as well. See you guys next week.